about you, but was the CEO Teacher Coaching Directory on your 2024 bingo card? Because it was sure on ours. We have been teasing this monumental occasion for a long while now, and it has been a hope and a dream of ours for so long, and the time has finally come. Introducing the CEO Teacher Directory, your one stop coaching shop for coaches, teachers, and teacher business owners to connect. 90% of coaching clients are word of mouth referrals, and the same goes for quality coaches and mentors. I was tired of thinking, how could teachers be able to help people from all over the world, teachers, students, parents, and districts? So we found a solution to the problem. We have trained and certified the top teacher coaches from all over the world, and our coaching directory is filled with the best teacher coaches to uplevel not only your teacher business, but any and everything you can think of related to the classroom or related to education in general. And the best part is, these are educators and they understand the unique and often overwhelming demand on your daylight hours. Being a new teacher business owner or a classroom teacher that's looking for help, or a school district that needs a specialist in any area of education, we have the one stop shop for you. The CEO Teacher Coaching Directory is your lesson plan shortcut. You can now hire a teacher business coach no matter what path or journey you may be on. No matter how unique you think your circumstances might be, we have it all here for you. Head on over to caseymorris.com/ask a coach and connect with local to you teacher coaches, or search by subject area and niche. It's friendly support with a teacher twist. Find a trusted teacher coach, whether you are part of the CEO Teacher membership or not. Any teacher, any parent, any school district in the world can use this. This is your playground. Again, head on over to caseymorris.com/ask a coach to find your coach or mentor today. That's KAYSEMORRIS.com/ask a coach. Hey, CEO teachers, welcome back to the show. I am so delighted today to be talking to you all about what your teacher business website design is missing with one of the most professional teacher website designers that we know. She is our number one recommendation to all of our students and to anyone listening. I cannot give enough rave reviews about Alexis Porter. She is the founder of Laugh, Eat, Learn. She believes in collaboration and empowering her clients to succeed. Alexis helps fellow teacherpreneurs create beautiful, functional websites that grow their businesses. And with over 10 years of experience, she offers personalized support and guidance in each and every project, from custom website design to e-commerce setup and so much more. If you're ready to take your online presence to the next level, you can learn more about Alexis in today's show. Welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I've inadvertently known you for at least a decade at this point, I think.
I know. I was talking to my husband about that. I'm like, we had a chat at a conference a long time ago. And it was great. It was great to talk to you then. And it's great to be here now. Like, it's crazy that it's been that long.
It is. And it's crazy to think, I think back to those conferences and kind of where we were in our mindset and in our business. And then I think back, we were just talking before the show about how we've learned to manage our time. I feel like I'm the happiest I've ever been as far as feeling confident in my business and also in life. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. As we are on online business owners, like, you have to kind of prioritize what's important in your life. And being online 24/7 is not always the biggest priority. So you really have to find that balance. And that's a really hard thing. I think, especially when you start transitioning from working for someone else to working on your own, trying to find that balance. So, yeah, I
It
agree. I
is.
am the happiest I've ever been right now. And, it's just about making priorities. And one of those things with priorities is having all your ducks in a row so you can take that time off and kind of leave the computer behind and go spend time with your family, your friends, enjoy the weather. I know we're going into fall now, which is my favorite, but um, having those systems in place online for your business is super important. And having your website running for you and being your 24/7 employee so you don't have to be that employee is super, super.
Oh, I'm here for today's conversation. We're going to nerd out. We are
Yeah,
going to nerd out already, I can tell, because some of the things that you said about systems and processes, and
yeah,
I think that it gets like that nerdy business talk, but the reality of it is that the reason you need to be so in sync with how your website runs and how your business is behind the scenes is that it allows you to live a very fulfilling life
yep,
if you're not constantly worrying. Like, I never worry about my website. Like, I'm never going, oh, I hope it might crash today, or man, I didn't, oh man, this header was this way. And I remember back in the day when I had, excuse my language, crappy websites, I would worry, right? I would be like, oh darn, I wanted to put this pop up, and now
yeah,
it's made this and this part of my website not work, and now they can't check out. And so having all of the vital pieces of a website, especially as a teacher who's working full time and then trying to manage this on the side, is so important. But before we get into all of that, I want you to kind of take it back. So, if you'll tell everyone a little bit about how you got started, why you chose WordPress, and all the ins and outs of what you do.
at this point, I'm like 10 years in. So some people know that I used to be a teacher and some people like have no idea. But I used to be a teacher and I started Laffy Learn in 2013. No, yeah, 2013. And
Wait, what month in 2013? I'm just curious because that's when I
in,
started my
in
business.
July, in July.
Okay, I was October.
Yeah, and I started it because I finally got my own classroom. And I was like a full timer and I got my own classroom finally. I had been a teacher for a couple years before, but I was sharing classroom. I was doing part time. This was like my first, first full year in the classroom, my own classroom, and I wanted to document it on my blog. So I created a blog and shared images and stuff. And then about 2014, well, let me go back even a little further. I had my blog and I designed it myself. Like I just like tweaked around with it and stuff. In middle school, I actually taught myself how to code. And I'm completely self-taught with everything I do. I'm just like
Tell
a
me tell me you learned with MySpace.
I did do MySpace, but I actually learned with LiveJournal. Do you remember LiveJournal?
I do, I do.
Yeah.
We would have been best friends in middle school.
Yeah, I didn't wanna, like, hang out outside, I just wanted to be on my computer. I bought my own computer when I was in middle school with my babysitting money, and I taught myself how to code and just had fun with it online, and, that kinda just translated with everything I did moving forward. I did my own blog, I designed it. I didn't have much experience with Photoshop at that time, and my husband did, or my boyfriend at the time, and he taught me how to do all that stuff on the side. And I remember just, being online. I started selling my resources on T and blogging about it. And then Angie Olson from Lucky Little Learners,
Obsessed with
yes,
her.
she messaged me and she was like, I love your website. Like, I love your blog. Do you do that? And I was like, I've never done that before for anyone else. I had only worked on my stuff. And I was like, sure, why not? Like, I'll try it out. So we started working together in 2014. And she was my first one I ever did.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
It was literally like the mecca of anything education website. Like, I remember just drooling over Angie's website every single, like, I would just go stare at it and be like, how did this happen? But I didn't know that she was the first person that you did.
She was my very first client, and I always bring it up. I always tell her this, like, I'm so appreciative to her because she really kinda started a whole new venture for me, like, seriously. And, we were back in Blogger back in that day, and, so we did Blogger, and then it kinda just took off from there. I was working on people here and there alongside teaching, and by the end of that year, I was like, I really can take somewhere if I want to. So I decided to leave my full time. I worked 2 years as a full time teacher and did this on the side, but it was just getting too much in the evenings and everything. So I, decided to drop back down to part time, and then in 2016, I believe, I officially like left the classroom. I was able to take this full time and haven't looked back since.
Never. I know people tell me all the time, they'll say, well, when do you think you're going to go back? And I'm like, I don't, that's not in the plans. That's not on the vision board.
Not on the plan. It's not on the plan. And it took a long time to be okay with saying that too, because I feel like
Yeah.
there is this whole stigma behind leaving the classroom and doing something different, and if that truly makes you happy or if that's okay to make you happy.
That's right.
And this makes me happy. So I love working. I still work with teachers every single day, and it's just in a different format. And I'm still teaching, for sure, still teaching.
Yes.
But it's funny because you said WordPress, and I did not like WordPress when I first started working with it. I had a client of mine that was on WordPress already, and she was like, "Can you please do my website?" And I was like, "I have never done WordPress before. I don't think that's something I want to do." I put a wall up and I just refused to learn how to do it. And she weared me down, and I worked on her website, and she still has that website up. Like, she still rocks that website I did back in the day. And yeah, I just started and I was like, "Oh, this is good. I actually like WordPress." And I started learning how to do my own website, ended up moving my website over and just continued to learn how to use it. And that's what I do now. I just do WordPress. I know how to use other systems, obviously, and I've done other systems, but WordPress is my jam for sure.
And I think that's such an important part of what we teach in the membership too, is that I remember this shift from Blogger to WordPress. And what we found was that you could utilize search engine optimization through WordPress in
Yep.
ways that you couldn't with Blogger. And the people that were switching were the people whose businesses were flourishing. And so I would be frustrated. And I remember being like, no, 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 like, why is this not working? And I'm doing all these things. And I knew a lot about coding and I knew a lot about SEO, but it didn't apply. And so I did a lot of research, and that's when I decided to go to WordPress. That's still why we teach WordPress to this day, and that's still why my website is on WordPress. Now I have Showit, which is just like a
I do
cover
too.
for. Oh,
I
do
do
you?
too.
Are
Yeah.
you designing in Showit?
I have designed two websites and show it for
Shut
teaching course.
up. Highly recommend. It's kind of like a more modern approach to what the blog could look like, but we've been very happy with it. It's very intuitive, it's very user friendly. I don't have to call my graphic designer if we need to do, well, I mean, we have one on staff at this point now, but it's not like this whole ordeal of a 3-month project that we have to work on. If we got the bare bones of everything that we needed, and we've been really happy with it.
Yeah, and I love that Show It is like the design aspect of your website, and it's way user friendly. And now we're going on Show It talk, but
I
you can
know.
still use WordPress fully. Like,
Completely. Like that's what we use. We just show it as like it's like the book cover.
yep, exactly. That's a great way of putting it.
And then WordPress is the inside of everything. And so the team was already trained in WordPress and it's just been easy. Okay, I'm totally off the subject of what we're here to talk about
Yeah,
today. So let me stop nerding out and let me get back to it. But today we're going to talk about how your website as a teacher, it could be missing some things.
yep.
And so when it comes to creating a website for a teacher and they're looking to brand themselves, and we talk a lot about branding here, but what advice would you give someone that's like going, I have a website and it's sucky because I created it myself, or I have no idea what to even put. How do you help them put together that brand?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm glad you guys talk about branding because that's super important. I feel like that's the foundation of where you should start with any type of business. With your website, though, and I know, and I work with all types of clients where between like someone that's brand new or someone who's had a website for a very long time and either worked with designers before or just DIY'd the whole thing themselves. And the biggest thing is just knowing what your goals are with your website, what your goal is for your business. What do you want your audience, your potential customer to actually take away from their website when they land? Because you're only going to get a couple seconds. Like, someone is not going to stay on a website if it is unorganized, the navigation is kind of messy, links are not working, there's stuff everywhere. They want to spend as little time on your website and they want to reach what their goals are, right? Your audience. They want to click here and find that information, solve their problem, and move on with their life. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a full-time job, if you're a mom at home, which is also a full-time job, but it doesn't matter what amount of time they actually have in their day. They don't want to spend all day on the computer looking at the site. They want to find the information and go. And the biggest thing I see when I work with potential clients or clients that I'm, onboarding to help them out is that their website is unorganized. It's like they're all every single thought they possibly have it's been put on that homepage. And as me looking at it, I'm like, okay, what is your goal here? Do you want to sell your product? Do you want to get newsletter subscribers? Do you want people to read your blog? Do you want them to reach out to you? Do you have services that you can provide to them? Like, do you want them? So my biggest thing is that above the fold is super important of your home. So if you've never heard of above the fold, it's literally what your screen sees without scrolling. So any information that is super important to you. So like if your goal is to sell your products directly on your website, like migrated away from TPT, or you still have TPT and you have shop products on your website now, and you want them to look at your shop, that's the first thing that they should go to your website. That's the first like call to action that they should see. And then you can kind of go into other things, but you really want your homepage to like a soft landing for someone. You want them to give them direction to their next step. So it's almost like the beginning of a roadmap. You have your goals everywhere within the roadmap, but you want them to kind of stop here, see what you have available, and make a decision and go to that next step.
I think that's so important too, is that in order to know where you're going, you got to know exactly what you want. And so I, as a coach, I struggle sometimes is helping them. We can create the vision, but then getting them to actually commit to a few things. And do you struggle with that as a web designer? Like when teachers come to you and they're like, okay, and you say, well, what's your main focus? Is it a newsletter? Is it having people download your course? Is it getting an opt-in? Is it getting people to buy your products? Are they usually like all the things?
Yes, all of the things.
Yeah.
And so we kind of have to put it in, like what's your number one, what's your number two, number three. I can do up to three on your homepage. Like that's not a problem. Or you can, as a DIY person who is working on a website. You can totally put more than one thing. It doesn't have to be all shop focus if that's your goal. But you want to make sure that your main priorities are up there, right? So if your main priority is that you want to get more subscribers and sell within your newsletter list, then you need to have access to that on your homepage. You need to give some type of incentive for them to, jump onto your list. And your homepage is the perfect place.
It is. So, if you're working with a client one on one and they are all over the place, what does it look like when you are trying to help them clarify it? Like, can you give us a little bit? How many meetings do you have to have with them? Do you have like a step by step? You talked about streamlining processes and things like that.
Yeah. So when someone reaches out to me, I give them the option to, set up a call so we can just kind of talk about the project and see, and I can take all my notes and stuff. I offer different ways of doing that. And once we get on that first call, it really shows me a big picture of what their goals are, what the problems are. I always let my potential client tell me what their problems are, and I just listen. I just want to know what their problems are. I just listen, I write notes down, and then we kind of talk about how I can problem solve it. I'm a big problem solver. And so I will then just, go off of each point that they said and said, okay, this is what we do for this one. We can change this, we can get on a maintenance plan so that you don't have to worry about plugin updates anymore or backups. We can fix your redirects, all those type of things that come with a website. I feel like I have a solution for all problems so far when I meet with someone. And depending on the level of service, will also go on like if we do my website design intensive, we always do a kickoff call. And that's kind of just like, going through their homework process and getting logged into everything, answering any questions so that we can kind of start the project on the right foot and moving forward through building their website out for them. But in general, I don't know, I've been doing this for so long. It's just kind of like, okay, I see what your problems are. I can relate to them. And this is what service is going to work best for you. I feel like I've catered my services and I'm not afraid of changing my services here and there. I just switched from doing a full done in a day to 2 half days because that's what worked best for my client. To have that kind of bridge of having time, not having a full on VIP day, single day. We're doing 2 half days now. So I just kind of tweak and I'm not afraid to do that. And I kind of just, listen to my clients' problems and kind of jot it down and figure out what's the best way to tackle this together. That's super important. the together part. I want, anyone that I work with to be a team member, not like someone on the side.
Yes. And I think hand holding for teachers in particular is really important. And even though you didn't necessarily give us the nuts and the bolts of your structure and your systems, it's clear that you have a very specific way that you do things, from your packages to individual calls with people to these VIP days, as you were talking about. And so over the years, the last decade, you've perfected those things. And you only could do that because you took action by interviewing people, by talking to people, and then you start to see common problems. You start to see common occurrences. And so, like you said, there's not really a problem that someone can give me that I can't solve at this point. And in the beginning, it is not like that. You feel like that there's a million problems you can't solve, but the thing about entrepreneurs usually is that they're going to figure it out. They're going to do what they need to do to make sure they figure it out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And that's that scrappy nature, right? It's just the way that it kind of rolls when you're in this game and you are on your own. But it doesn't have to be alone either. Like, there are people out there to support you. I know you said you have a huge team that helps you. You don't have to worry about your website anymore. And that's kind of where I want to fit in to my clients' life with their website. I want them to be able to email me at any time, and I'll respond. I'm so good at my email. It's something I pride myself over. I respond to everyone.
That's you know what? We are not the same. I love that about you. We are definitely not the same in that area. I'm the worst emailer ever. Like once a month, maybe I'm gonna get in there.
No, I got a good system with making sure that everyone that reaches out to me is, touched upon and talked to. And even beyond working together as a client, like, I always keep my door open for anyone that I talk to. Even if you decide to go with someone else, I'm always, I just want to cheer you on, and I hope it works out for the best. And if you need help in the future, you reach out. It's just super important in this space that there is, the communication, the collaboration, communication is big in my book. And that's my game plan.
I love that, and I think that that is what makes you so unique and so special. And I think that's why we always recommend our students go to you, is because we've never, ever, not once in the last 6 years that we've recommended you, had someone say, Alexis just did not work out. Like, she was not a good communicator. I don't love my website. Not once. And that is something to hang your hat on.
That's awesome. That makes me feel so good.
So you're doing a great job. Okay, but let's talk about like what specifically you see that many websites are missing these days.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So I think the biggest thing is your navigation bar. Like, you got to make
Yeah.
sure it's not that it's missing, but it's just kind of lackluster,
Sloppy.
sloppy. Or
Yeah.
you're trying to throw everything at that navigation bar, and you're trying to explain what it is you're doing or what the page is in so many words that it's like creeping. You're making a snake across your homepage because you have so many things in that navigation bar. I would say the biggest thing is try to limit that to the bare minimum. You can do drop downs if you want with that, but simplify. Your navigation should be simple. It should get from point A to point B, whoever lands on there. A big thing I always see with my clients is they do want to label out exactly what their business name, shop. So, like, Laugh Eat Learn Shop, is the whole thing is in your navigation, and it's like, no, you don't have to do that. You could just say shop. Like, everyone is already on your website. They know that they're on your website. Like, you can just label it shop. Another thing is like courses or services. Make one that says courses and then do a drop down. And then you can write your full title of your course or your service there. It doesn't have to all be displayed at all times.
And when I remember one of my first websites that I had designed, I was like a navigation like nerd. Like, I wanted like 3 navigation bars, right?
Yeah.
I wanted like the first grade navigation bar, the second grade navigation bar, and then like the teacher business navigation bar.
Yeah.
And then it was like join my email list. That was all above the fold.
Yeah.
Like, when I
All
think
about
about it.
it. Yep.
I mean, it was cute. It
Yeah.
was cute. But when nobody, I mean, who even like I'm overwhelmed even thinking about it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And so I completely agree with that. Donald Miller says this, and I don't know if he created this quote or if he got it from someone else, but he says, when you confuse, you lose. And that is exactly what a navigation bar can do for your people, is that they come there and they go, I have no idea what's going on or no idea what to buy. And I think Angie, as you brought her up, Lucky Little Learners, like she's so clear and concise with what she does that it's easy for people to get there. And then not to mention it's beautifully color coordinated. I haven't looked at her website in a while, but I'm sure if it's as stunning as it was all those years ago, that it's still just as beautiful. And then not to mention her business is thriving, but she's always been very clear with who she is and who she serves. And I can't reiterate it enough that even on your website, but in your business, as Dr. Stephen Covey says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And so you've been doing what you do in your capacity for how long?
We're looking at 10 years now. Like, we don't count me just doing my blog by itself, but just the design work, it's 10 years, yeah, which is insane.
And it's crazy that we're both at this, that's where we both started about the exact same time. It just takes time. It just takes time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the people that I work with, they want to speed that up, and there's there's no way to do that. Like, you just gotta, you have to start at the bottom. You have to work on things one at a time, and continue to grow. And even now, with if we're talking about like the space that teacherpreneurs are in right now, there's so many. There's so many now that you really need to stand out in some way. So that's why it's super important with the branding. Like, I'm really glad that you talk about branding in your membership. But and one way to do that is through your website, making sure that your website is unique to you and your business and not cookie cutter in any. And you can see that a lot with just kind of following the system. Subscribe to my newsletter, overpacked navigation, no clear direction on your website, and you just want to really focus. Like, I can't go back enough to your goals. What is your goal? What do you want someone that lands on your website? And there that might be multiple things, but you need to make sure that whatever your main goal is the forefront. Like, it needs to be above the fold, it needs to be in your lead magnet, all of those.
Such good information. All right, let's say that someone says, "I don't have the money to pay someone to design my website. I got to DIY this from the get-go." What advice would you give them?
So what I would say is, don't lean on a free theme. Like, you can use themes to start your website and do it yourself, but don't lean on a free one. Just invest the small amount of money to a paid theme. It comes with directions. Most theme developers will even offer a service that they can, get the theme up and running on your website for, not that much as an investment cost. And then you have a website that you can kind of add your own personality to, your business, everything like that, and start there. But don't use the free themes that drive me crazy, because you get in there and you realize like you don't have any customization option. There's no abilities with plugins, there's no abilities with spaces, things around how you want it, how you vision it. And then you just get frustrated and then it just sits there. And I've seen so many people who have started their website and then get to that point of frustration because they don't know what they're doing with the theme and with WordPress. It's like too much. They know they need a website, but they don't know how to get there. So if you are able to, I would say invest in a theme developer. And that can range from like $50 to there's $300 ones as well. And just start learning. Get on YouTube, go on my website. I have tons of blog posts geared towards WordPress and websites and how to's. I have courses. I have tons of options there. And even to plug myself even more, I have multiple options for website design because I saw the need to have a lower ticket price option, like a lower service option for people who are just starting out. So now I have a website in a day option that can, help someone get on their feet, get the foundation, teach them how to use their website, because that's really big for me too. And I don't know if I've said that enough, is the teaching aspect of WordPress and your website. Teach them how to use their new theme, their new website, and that way they have a connection to someone that can support.
So good.
Yeah.
Alexis, it's been such a delight to chat with you today.
Yeah, I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for bringing me on your show.
Learn, go follow her on Instagram. And she's just a wealth of knowledge that you can get little tips and tricks along the way to help you with your teacher business. Thank you so much for listening. We're here every Wednesday on the CEO Teacher Podcast, and we are kickstarting Teacher TV again every Thursday night on Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can RSVP each week on Teacher TV as we talk to teachers all over the globe by going to caseymorris.com/teacher TV. And as always, remember, your best is yet to come. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.